The section I really want to focus on is our meal section. The meal section is where you have your menu planner. Each day has a production schedule, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Within each one of those meals, from the calendar screen that you're here, if you click on a day, it'll show you the meals for that day that have been defined. Within that meal, we have a projected attendance, and that's your population. You have a projected cost, which is based on the population and the ingredients you're serving. The meal type, which there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you go to a day and you want to go into that meal to review it, you simply double click on the meal itself down in the grid at the bottom. And then it will bring up the ingredients that we've portioned out. Up at the top, we have your meal description, and then the date of the service, the meal type, so you can define that. Your projected attendance is your population count. So if your unit has 250 people, just type in 250, and you'll see that down below on the ingredients, it'll change how many portions you need to prepare. We have the meat salad, the cheese slice, and then the other ingredients. Now, the item, if they're shaded in a little bit of a blue, it means that it's a recipe with a procedure on how to produce it. If it's a white item, then it is a purchased item that you'll just pull out of your storage and then put on the serving tray. The portion amount is the size of the portion that is to be served. And then your portion factor is really an acceptability factor, and then it's going to tell you what the portion cost is for that item, as well as the total projected cost for the item for that entire meal. Over to the right, you have the ingredient notes. So if you have special instructions beyond the recipe instructions, you can go to the ingredient notes tab and you can double click on that and bring up an editor where you can type in any information that you need to have for that meal, which will be printed on your cook's production record or on the recipes themselves. When you close out, if you made changes to the instructions, it'll ask you, would you like to save changes? Just answer yes. If we scroll over to the right here, you have an alternate menu name, which you don't need to concern yourself with at this point. It's primarily for the use of presenting calendars to clients and stuff like that. For if we call it chicken baked and they want to call it baked chicken on the menu, that's what that's for. The utensil value is a lookup list where you can click on the ellipses there, or the three dots, and we have the different utensils that are available for serving purposes, and then you would just assign the utensil that you want to use for that serving. Again, this is going to print out on your production record so that there won't be any confusion as to what they're supposed to use when they're serving the product, which is ultimately going to help you in your portion control. On the pan sizes also a lookup list, and these have not been defined because we're going to allow you to define them yourself, because you have your own naming convention. Yes, we have 6-inch full pan, but if it's a volume capacity, you have to actually enter in what the pan size is and how many units are in the pan based on this unit of measure, so that again, when you print out your production records, you're going to get a production record that's going to say you need 9.5 6-inch full pans of this product, and that way you can better account for product to make sure it's produced and ready for serving. As you're in the meal, if you need to add an ingredient because you're serving something else, you can simply, where the little triangle is really going to determine where that ingredient is placed into the meal. So if I wanted to add an item, let's say I wanted to add milk, I could just click on Add Item, and then this is the standard search screen within the program, and there's 3 different tabs here. You can look it up through our quick search, our complete search, or by product number. So the quick search, if I'm looking for milk, all I have to do is start typing milk, and it will bring down the list of all the milks that are in the system, and then I can go ahead and double click on the one that I want. It'll put it in the meal and specify my portion size and then my portion factor. If you want to rearrange the items in the meal, you can highlight the line so you have the triangle next to it. Use the move up and move down buttons to position it in the order that you want it to be displayed in. To give you a little bit more about the menu planner, after the meal has been served, you can go to the actual tab and you can put your actual attendance in here, and then you can actually enter in how many portions you used or how many you left over, and then that will give you some history and lock everything down. Another item that we need to cover is the special directives. Because this is a computer, it can spit out a lot of paper for you, and a lot of that paper is really not necessary. So we have our special directives tab that allows you to come in and specify whether you want the item to be printed on the cook's recipe. Do you want a temperature control panel there to record your time and temps, so on and so forth. So in this case, we probably need a recipe for meat salad. The cheese slice we don't need. The bread and roll you may need. Potatoes, the gelatin, we don't need the tea because we know how to make that. And then same thing, you just uncheck the items that you don't need the information on, which will minimize the amount of paper that the program will produce. So I would say to go in and just start checking those off as well. We also have a notes area for the meal itself, which is generally used to put in notes for serving. I have a lot of customers that will use this for their layout on their steam table, any special notes on any thing on the particular meal that you need to take into account for. On maybe there's something special with your sack lunches, or maybe it's an ODR meal or something to that nature. You can also go to the graphs tab to kind of look at your meal cost on a pie chart to see where the cost of your ingredients are coming from, so that you can hone in on what areas you should be focusing on. But you want to pay particular attention to your costs as you're moving forward on this. And as we continue to train you, when you enter in your invoices, that's going to update the case cost on your items, which in turn is going to reflect on your inventory extensions, which is also going to update your recipes and your production costs